6. The controversial state required exam is at the center of a discussion for many students hoping to become teachers. We reported a national teacher shortage is affecting schools in our area. Emily Riley tells us more about the FORT exam and why some people are saying it's a barrier for students.
The Foundations of Reading Test, or the FORT, was originally designed for those seeking reading specialist licenses, but became the industry standard in 2014 for all elementary teachers trying to earn their license in the state.
It's a 4-hour-long exam at a computer station at a testing center, and it's very intense. So student feedback is it's a very high anxiety space to try to test in.
Some educators, like Samantha Meister, an assistant professor in the education program at UW Green Bay, says some barriers are financial. The exam costs $139, completely out of pocket each time it's taken.
It's incredibly hard for our students of color and our students who are multilingual learners. We talk about wanting to diversify the teaching profession, and this test is absolutely a barrier to doing that.
Some in the reading sector of education are against making any change to the requirement. Others propose changes that include varying the cutoff score for first-time teachers, or allowing applicants to show their work through a portfolio instead, which is a change made for those teaching special education.
We haven't made it easier to be a teacher. We've just been more flexible in how you demonstrate the criteria. So the FORT seems to be the one sticking point.
The state's emergency licenses are serving as a partial solution, allowing unlicensed students at least 1 year in the classroom. While there continues to be disagreements about the test, educators say they hope to work alongside the Department of Instruction to advance those conversations. In Green Bay, Emily Riley, Action 2 News.